Here is a quote just for this episode. He who would learn to fly one day must first learn to walk and run and climb and dance. One cannot fly into flying. If you're listening to this episode and you have not listened to what is a board, what is an advisor, what is value, after this episode, go take a look at what is a board, what is an advisor, what is value. Mike Drop Calhoun is here today to talk about what is board of advisors. This is somebody I met years ago and immediately knew that I would learn and grow and someday fly. One cannot fly into flying. The closer I got to this person, as Schopenhauer said, the higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly. Mike, thanks for flying high for all these years and helping so many people. I really do want to know, what is board of advisors?
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting. You think everybody would know because it's such a common term. One of the reasons we selected the brand board of advisors over a mastermind, they have the board room, they have the war room, they have, I mean, these are my guys. I love these guys, right? They're all my buddies. So I can give them a little bit of, shiz just for namesake. But I'm curious why everything is a room, board room, war room, uh, closed door session. I mean, I get it. It's an exclusive environment. But if you go to the internet and you actually Google board of advisors, basically what you have is I mean, obviously now we pop up as number one because we are the board of advisors for America, boardofadvisors.com. We own the brand, we own the technology, we have the best team. We are the powerhouse in that space, in that category, and we own the trademark, right? Like we are the one for the United States, and you just kind of think it's obvious, but realistically, what I find is even though somebody has created a really solid brand, a product, platform, or service that is monetarily doing very, very well, they're not exactly sure what a board of advisors is or what it does. Conceptually, they kind of have, their head around it. Um, but to really understand why it is so critical and why it is so valuable, I think they have to have a little bit of a conversation. They've got to sharpen their pencil because it's not on the tip of their tongue. And realistically, like it is the marketplace, regardless of whether you're in technology, if you're in healthcare, if you're in manufacturing. I mean, it doesn't really matter what vertical or real estate. Real estate has the multifamily, it has storage, it has um, what do you call it? Maintenance. You have your flippers. You have your wholesaler. Just so many categories just in real estate. So when somebody says I do real estate, well, what do you do? It's nuanced, right? So when somebody is like, well, what is board of advisors? It sounds like everybody gets around and they have a business meeting. Do I need to? So many times they're thinking, man, I don't want any more meetings because I know from my perspective, I am the ideal citizen inside of a community like board of advisors. Like, I don't want to have another meeting, bro. I don't want to do it. I don't have time for it. You know what I want to do is I want to get stuff done.
Hmm.
Um, so trying to rally an individual into a closed door, meeting, a board room, a war room. A lot of times, the real players, it's tough because they want to get things done and they don't want to be mingling inside of a container where it's chock full of service providers that are just trying to sell them something. Like, that's the last thing they need. So, what I would say is, I would say, we have categories for these individuals. We can probably get into that later. But a board of advisors is, think of it if it were a deck of cards, right? Deck of cards has 52 in it. You know, board of advisors may have 152 or 252, dedicated, committed, invested advisors on the board nationally at any given time, right? So if we're $30,000 a year, if you hire board of advisors to be your platform for you to sit on as an advisor, what you're saying is, I am going to be a strategic guide. I'm going to mentally partner with the individuals on this board. They, in exchange, are going to do the exact same thing for me. They are going to be my guide down the path on a journey where maybe they've already gone, they've done it for 30 years potentially, right? Maybe it's my third year. This is somebody that can help me to navigate very complex conversations, situations, environment, finance, strategy, negotiations. Like, my team does not like being on calls when I'm negotiating. They see a completely different side, right? Because I know that for us to win, we have to be hyper competitive. And negotiations, it's not about always winning and getting up over top of somebody. Many times, the other person on the other side doesn't even really know what they're doing, and you're bringing them down the path in an accelerated manner to get to that win, to where, yeah, it's great for you, but it's got to be great for them too, because that's what makes a great deal, right? So, as an advisor sitting on the board, you are a strategic guide, you are a partner, a mind partner, a mind share partner. You are there to navigate very complex situations, and they and you are there for, you're a catalyst to them and they're a catalyst to you for exponential growth, because timing is everything, and time is our most valuable asset, but it's also the one that is constantly fleeting from us. So in order to really win, time, everything is about faster and less friction, right? How do we get it done faster? How do we get it done with less friction? How do we get it done more efficiently? How do we increase margins and shrink time frames? This is what a board of advisors is built to do. And it's built to be able to see a full circle, a full radius, a 360-degree perspective, because you have blind spots, right? I'm looking at the camera right now. I don't know what's behind me. The only reason I know what's behind me is, I've looked behind me a million times, so I know. But you also need those people that have also looked behind you and are consistently looking behind you on a regular basis, so right? Now, the other thing too is, you many times think you've got it all figured out. And you may be very sharp. You may be wildly experienced. But to be moving into a world that is changing so quickly, from finance to technology to payments to, everything is like, look at AI. It's changing the world fast. If you aren't able to leverage AI and you're competing with AI, you're going to lose. So experience trumps theory, right? Advisors have walked the actual path. They have the real experience. They've battled the actual storms. They have emerged victorious once they have suffered through the pain, and they have scars to actually prove it. Their scars are your shortcuts, right? Like, I have scars all over my hand. I mean, big ones all over my hand from all kinds. I mean, we've done a lot of real estate. We've done a lot of real estate. We've done a lot of renovations. We've done a lot of physical labor in certain ventures. And I can tell you right now how certain things work in that environment. Like you just don't do it a certain way, or you're going to end up with these things, right? Like almost losing a thumb. Nobody wants to lose a thumb. You can lose one of your other fingers, but you sure as heck don't want to lose a thumb. Like that thumb, it might be the smallest one, but it's the most important one. Now, you also have that the what I like to call the power of perspective. That 360-degree angle. Why does the military have a radar? Because they have to see around them at all times. They have a radar that's able to sense when something is coming in. They have a gauge. Is it a threat? Is it friendly? Like being able to have optics that are beyond what you're able to see is another thing that helps you through those challenges, and it mitigates against your assumptions. A lot of times, we as owner, founder, CEOs, we have our theory and we have our assumption, but it does not mean it's kind of a really good gut instinct guess, but it doesn't mean it's true. Because I tell you, I've sat in this seat and I've had these conversations for 26, 27 years straight. And I'm on a call every single day with somebody that's wildly experienced. I just talked to a guy yesterday, he stepped up for $100 million. And he's like, well, I'm trying to figure this out. And I'm like, hey, have you ever thought about it this way? Not because I know everything, because I just got off with a guy earlier that day that had figured out what he's already trying to figure out. It just so happened that it happened all in the same day. But like, even though he's done it at a very high level, like there's always another level, and there's always an efficiency, and there's always a better strategy, right? So when you really want to be competitive and you really want to get the highest return on your efforts and your resources and your revenue, why not have 152, 252 real pros as your radar, right? Giving you the perspective, cross-checking your assumptions, putting your theory under the fire of experience, and mind partnering with you for the win. I call it the evolution of an advisor, because you it's sometimes, they say the plumber is at home with the leaky faucet or the leaky pipes, right? Well, the plumber knows what to do, but he sometimes never gets to do it for himself. And it's real easy for you to be valuable to somebody else because you're able to, from the outside, look in. And if you're not able to set aside the ego and allow people to do that for you, right? You're going to be leveraging your theory against others' experience. You're going to be playing your cards of assumption against their cards of experience. Their collective scars are your shortcuts, and that's how you win. That's how you're competitive. No one is self-made. No one is self-made. And which brings me kind of into probably where we're going to go next, but I don't think it's negotiable. Everybody talks about, and we did our conversation on a coach and a consultant and a mentor and why the advisor is the high. I just spoke with a young lady. She's the number one female blogger in the world, and she built a entire program around building up coaches and teaching them how to be a better coach and how to actually transact and create value to where people say yes to their program. Like, she makes coaches great. And I said, well, you know what? Here's what would be a really cool proposition. Once they're a great coach and they've actually done it, could they be a consultant? Because they're coming from experience. And once they're really good and they've got a lot of experience, they could kind of be an advisor. That's what you do, right? When you get a lot of experience, you sit on a board, you get a board seat. You know, you look at Kevin Harrington, you look at these guys that have been part of not only board of advisors, but they've been, Russ Whitney. He's at the next meeting. You know, the guy took a company that it was 14 cents a share, and he took it to $14 a share with millions and millions of shares. He did pretty well, but he still sits on the board. You know why? Because they want his experience.
Mm.
They want to leverage the guy that helped build the thing. So even if you are taking an exit, it's so funny. The smartest people, the private equity people, they don't want that going away because they know it's the thing that keeps them sharp. If they keep that person on the tip of the spear, cross-checking, are we staying in alignment with the culture of the product, the service, or the platform? So again, I don't think a board is even negotiable. And people have them. They have they hire their coaches, they have their consultants, they think they have a mentor here or there. And every once in a while they get a true advisor. Um, but why not sit on the official board of advisors? And why not mind partner with some of the greatest in the country? And why not win? Like, I can tell you this, it doesn't matter what business you're in, if we stack a couple hundred mind partners with you with average 20 years of experience, fortified and crystallized real intellectual property. Like, they have all the scars getting to something that actually works. That's the problem, getting something to work. And then through that journey, they've created this entire Rolodex, right? Like, why wouldn't you want all of them on your team? You only have to say, I'm going to be on your team. I'm going to invest to sit on your board. I'm going to make myself available with everything that I bring to the table. And you don't have to bring everything to the table. You have to bring everything you can bring to the table. You don't have to know everything. Sometimes it's more who you know, right? I've watched some of those most amateur players on the board help connect and bring opportunity to some of the most experienced players on the board.
What happens when experienced, generous wisdom meets inexperienced, intuitive inspiration?
It's amplified impact, right? You're so say the question again, because I want to pick it apart and be very precise with my answer.
What happens when, yeah, this is a question that came to mind when I was listening to your explanation. What happens when generous, wise experience meets inspired, intuitive inexperience? It's the meeting of these two. You mentioned the
It's
scars and you mentioned the
amplified impact.
innovative.
Yes, for those who want to go big,
Right.
right? For those who want to go big, that you've got this young buck, and you've got this I call it the gray hair in the room. You have the wise hair in the room, and you have the warrior, right? You have the wisdom and the warrior. That's probably the best way to put it. And the warrior is ready to go to war, and the wisdom is why they're going to win. Pretty simple. And so for the guys, the warriors that want to play it big, the wisdom is what's going to accelerate their growth. And quite frankly, it's not a luxury, it's a requirement. It mitigates against risk. It unlocks the opportunities that they would never see by themselves, right? And it conserves their energy for the time that they most need it. It conserves their execution, their dollars, their resources for the time they most need it. Because now they're playing chess, right? They're not playing checkers. They're playing chess because they're leveraging all their enthusiasm and energy with that wisdom, with those scars. The experience transfer is the fastest path to leadership, leverage, and scale. Because what you'll find is those who have been really successful have scaled through technology, through people, through liquidity. You know, you look at these guys that buy a meme coin. Well, they won because all the liquidity flowed into it and they scaled out because of volume, people's dollars, or people, or like when you leverage tech, people, volume, like you're only one person with so many hours in the day. You only have so many dollars, so many hours. You can only think so many thoughts. You only have so much energy. If you can figure out leverage through those things, then you can accomplish scale, right? But the board is the forced multiplier that brings all of that to the table instantly. Like when you're sitting on the board, your forced multiplier is sitting right around you.
Mr. Miyagi pruned the bonsai tree, a Japanese white pine, which typically has a conical or triangular shape with layers of branches that gradually become smaller as they reach the top. Regular pruning and maintenance were essential to keep the tree looking its best.
Mm-hmm.
What relationship does Mr. Miyagi's meditation with the bonsai tree have with your leadership of board of advisors,
Well,
if
think
at
about it.
all?
Well, think about it. What you're talking about is so when he's pruning the bush, because a hibiscus is something that I think everybody's very familiar with. You can prune a hibiscus all the way back, and it just starts sprouting. I mean, like right out of the shaft. It just they're amazing plants. I think they're beautiful. I mean, some of them just have like the wildest colors on the flowers, but the plant does better when and it gets thicker and it over time it becomes healthier and bushier the more it is healthily trimmed back. Now, putting that into the world of people, you know, do you want to always keep getting trimmed back? Like if you're trying to grow, you have to grow healthy. So think of this: if you're out there selling your face off, but your fulfillment is out of balance, well, we need to know when to prune sales to fund and build. There's a strategy for the growth spurt. There's a strategy for we're going to sell it, but we're going to give ourselves a 60-day delivery period or a 90-day delivery period. We're going to take pre-orders to fund the actual fulfillment back in. There are strategies to where you don't get out of balance. And, for example, the bush doesn't grow too much in one way or the other, right? You want, like everybody loves that nice little round, well-groomed bush. Well, that's what business should be as well. You have this business bush that gets nice, fatter, rounder, it just gets healthier. And those are the bushes that people like to buy, right? They don't like the bush that looks like it's, go it all grew in one single direction towards the sun. It looks deformed. So people say, um, they make fun of being in balance, but business is a balancing act, right? So you have to have the right amount of sales to fund the right amount of staff to have the right amount of fulfillment, to create the right amount of successes, and then your successes turn into your social media that goes out, and everybody is saying great things about you, just brings in more opportunity to serve more customers with your product, platform, or service. So, when you look at it, like, the genius the genius is in the collective. Your board generates the solutions. It's going to, so because everybody, I don't care who you are, has something that you need to fix in your business. I do, you do, everybody does, right? The collective genius is going to bring solutions that work, because they're not theory, they're based on experience. It's going to continually spark innovation. You did great, but did you think about this? You did great, but did you think about that? It's keeping you innovating, and it's also like, it puts the gas in the tank, and it fuels the momentum beyond what any one singular individual is ever going to achieve by themselves, right? So what you're doing is you're saying, let me take this collective mind partnering, mind share genius. Let me leverage all of the solutions that it can bring. I'll pick the right ones. Let me let them fire all the ideas at me so I can stay razor sharp on my innovation. And then it creates this efficiency where the momentum starts to carry itself, right? Like, when the rocket burns more fuel. Go talk to Elon. It's going to burn more fuel getting off the ground than it does in space, right? So once you get the thing off the ground, and if you're preserving more momentum, you're preserving profit, you're preserving margin. Momentum is synonymous with margin. The more momentum you keep up, right? Your
Mm.
conversation with your prospects go cold, you're starting over, right? You want momentum. Momentum creates margin. Momentum also fuels back to scale. It's just, you can't do it alone. You're not able to be hyper competitive these days alone.
What relationship does the energy in the room have on the momentum outside of the room?
What relationship does the momentum have in the room have?
The energy in the room, yeah, the momentum in the room have or could have on the momentum out of the room.
Well, I think subconsciously people are selecting through the collaborative advantage within the room. I think people are beginning to select who they want to do a joint venture with, what joint venture they want to do, who maybe can they help and contribute to, but also who do they need? Like, that momentum inside of the room starts making what I call natural selection, right? So when we leave, after all said and done, I maybe met, you know, 100 great people out of a couple hundred in attendance, sitting on the board. But it usually boils down into, okay, I'm going to crack off this joint venture, or this potential modification to my business, this promotion. It creates a natural selection of prioritization as it extends outside of the room. But it's like a breathing animal, because and I don't even like to call it the room. This is I actually like to look at it as a 5-day quarterly retreat for these advisors to get out of their environment. Because when they get out of their environment, it's not a bad thing. But maybe there's tons going on at the house. The cats, the kids, wife, maybe house responsibilities, maybe you have a huge house, maybe you have lots of cars. You just have stuff going on all the time. And then at work, you're the boss. So it's unbelievable how teams love to just tell the boss everything, right? So whether it's an email or whether it's a text or whether you're in the hallway or everybody wants to talk to the boss. Everybody wants to, bring some sort of value or conversation to the boss. Sometimes the boss or the owner, they need to get out and all the noise has to die and then get in an environment like this where it's a completely different conversation. So when they come out of it, like they're taking they're taking that leverage momentum, because inside of a conversation when sitting at the board, you are leveraging all of those resources. Coming out of that, that's like rocket fuel, right? It's not noise. It's hyper concentrated rocket fuel for you and your business and for yourself as the owner, which many times you're running on rocket fuel to be who you are, to sit in that seat. And the noise is the dilution, the noise that's just constant. It's the dilution where you're burning rocket fuel to keep all these balls in the air, personally and business wise. Like, where the heck are you getting refilled? Oh, I can tell you. Let's rally 200 baller CEO, founders, investors, family offices around you, right? And we'll put rocket fuel in your shorts real quick. So you want to talk about like the relationship momentum in the room extending out, dude. By the time they show up to a board of advisor meeting, they're running on empty. We fill that tank and we focus that momentum.
Can you see this diagram?
No. Oh, yes.
What is it like a brain? There are neurons that speak to one another and they form these nets of neurons, these neural nets.
Well,
And
it's
there's
like a
signals.
network of neurons,
The
right?
net works or it doesn't.
Well, think about it.
Who?
Like,
Yeah, right, yeah,
well,
go on.
well, so yeah, the net works or it doesn't. I
The
like that.
net, it's catching ideas, it's catching.
Well,
If
what
I
is a
understand this
net?
correctly,
A net is multiple cords that has been tied together, right? So if you have a rope, you're going to go catch a fish with a rope. Well, now you're fishing. But if you tie a bunch of them together, like you begin to create quite a bit of leverage, and your
oh,
foot
that's an
grows.
innovation to human society. The
Totally.
fish with the pole versus the net. I can get one fish or I can get 100. Are you making the implicit argument that being a part of the board, being an advisor, you're fishing in your business with a net in a broader ocean as opposed to alone? I don't want to go. It's too much
Well, let me
time. It's
ask you
too much
this:
investment. I'm
if
just going to
you were
keep my
fishing,
pole.
if we were at the beach and you're fishing with your pole and I'm fishing with a net,
Who
my
wins?
my net is going to outwork your pole, and my net worth is going to increase very quickly because I'm going to have a lot more fish than you're going to have on the end of your rope. I mean, if we want to get into illustrations, right? So,
I'm trying to figure out. I want to be more successful. I have an intuition. I have an idea. I have my individuality. I have my personality, my personal reality. I have the special sauce, but I lack the scars. I lack the experience. I lack the influence. I lack the network. I lack the net worth. I lack all of the lagging indicators of my idealism that came before. Yeah, that came before I got. But so I want to plug in. So I need what? I need. How do I be? How am I valuable? You're saying, well, there's something that I know. There's someone that I know. There's something that I can offer. I've got to be present. I've got to pay attention.
it's the first thing you
I
ever
need
pay.
to be physically there and I need to pay attention.
Well, the only way you can be valuable is because you have paid attention. You pay to be valuable by paying attention. So, if you look at experience, think about it. People with experience are people that have paid attention to a thing for a very long or for a certain period of time, right? So if we took dollars out of the equation and we had relationship equity, we had attention, we're in an attention economy, a lot of people like to say, right? Well, if you are great at observing, you pay attention, your whole business is looking at how people operate within their organization. What is their their culture may not be good, it may be bad. There is a culture, it just doesn't always mean it's a good culture. And you are so observative of what they are doing, you look at their behavior, their you look at really, where is their mind? What do they believe in? How is it creating a behavior? And then that behavior is transferred to those around them in their organization, in their business, whether it's 3 people, 30 people, 300 people. That leader and their belief system creates a behavior in that leader, which creates a behavior in their organization, which becomes that culture, right? If if we took dollars out of it and we paid attention, we are go we are going to, it's just like what we talked about before, perspective and optics on ourselves. Am I paying attention to what is my belief system? Am I paying attention to what is my behavior? Oh, well, I might not even know my belief system, but if I look at my behavior and I kind of back into it, I probably have a belief system of fear or of uh, scarcity, right? Like, I'm afraid somebody's not going to join the board of advisors. No, I'm not. Matter of fact, I'm not afraid that they're not going to join. I'm afraid they're not going to be valuable once they get there,
Mm.
right? Because I know what to do with them. I just need to make sure that they are of a mutual. People like to call it an abundant mindset, right? That's like that's like coach, consultant, coach, author, speaker, you know, vernacular, right? I call it not abundant mindset, but a mutual benefit mindset.
Mm.
Because
I like that.
because everybody has to be real with themselves. They want to win. I want to win. You want to win. And if you're just a taker, if you're the only one winning, right? That means more than likely you're just taking from somebody else. If you can be valuable and they're winning, you're winning, and it's a compounding effect. What did the guy from Facebook say? I don't go on social media that much, but the guy that owns Facebook. Who's the guy that owns Facebook or Meta?
Mark
Mark
Zuckerberg.
Zuckerberg. He was talking about value squared. When you have something valuable and someone comes in, right, when they want to grow their base, they believe they have something that's valuable, but they want to attract valuable additions to the platform, and they call it value squared, right? So it's not it's not it's not 5 plus 5 is 10. They're looking at it as, if value meets value, it becomes value squared, where it's 25. It's bang, it's a mutual benefit, and it's an exponential benefit to all parties. But when you have value that's lopsided, or potentially someone looking to harvest value and not add value, now what you have is you have a negative, you have a subtractor, right? And
Mm.
realistically, you can go to zero real quick. So I'm not afraid that somebody's not going to join. Matter of fact, I think it's silly when they don't. And I think it's silly when they don't, and I think it's sad to a degree and unfortunate that 30K could be a distractor. Dude, 30K? What? Hold on. The national minimum wage average is like less than 30K here, right? So hold on, you don't want to put 200 beasts on your team for it doesn't even make sense to me. And then it's the time thing. Well, I've got to be there. Well, no. It's not about you having to be there. It's about you not being where you're at. That's actually the whole point. Like, how about you not be where you're at doing the same thing you're always doing? Okay. Because you're going to get the same, or maybe we make an investment. But here's the other thing. If they don't pay, you got to pay attention and you got to support the platform, right? But the act of them investing means they're invested, which means they're hungry, right? When you go out to a nice dinner and you get a nice steak and you know you're going to pay a nice bill, well, you don't stop by McDonald's on the way. You come hungry, baby, because you want to enjoy it. You should be coming hungry. You should know that you invested and you should be preparing to be there and be hungry to be in great conversation, be hungry to bring great value. The big challenge is how valuable can you be today? Because value precedes success.
What can I do to be valuable? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Number one,
I'm there.
Number one is a very simple process. Number one, listen. Actually, number one, be there. That's number 0. Number 0, be there. If you're not there, you're not in the game. You're out, right? Number 1, listen. Number 2, ask great questions. You know how you ask great questions? It's because you listened. It's really hard to ask a great question when you didn't listen. Other than there's only one question you can really ask, and it's, what did you say? Like, huh? So listen, ask great questions. You'll get better answers, believe it or not. And guess what? Now you're creating a really meaningful conversation. And if you're anything like me and every other founder, owner, CEO, chairperson, board member, like we are usually deriving product platforms and services around innovation, around deal making, around sales. We are bringing things to market. Somebody that's paying attention, they're listening, they're asking great questions, they're getting great answers back. Now we're playing the best game of tennis, entrepreneurial tennis, at the Ritz. Something magical happens. Oh, I got a guy for you. I have a girl for you. I have an idea for you. Now it becomes this, and then it's like fuel. It's like what we talked about before. Oh my gosh. You know what? I know exactly what you're talking about. We did that for 20 years. Let me share this with you. It's magical. It's unfair, right? Like I think that these these Vegas magic show dudes, everybody gets a kick out of it, but get a few entrepreneurs in the room and watch them come up with a thing that never existed, that's wildly impactful and wildly rewarding, and then goes and retires not only themselves but their teams. Like that's magic, right? They're creating something from nothing because of that mind partnering, mind share, the mutual benefit mindset, not the abundant mindset, the mutual benefit mindset. True success lies in creating win-win scenarios for all parties involved. The board is the thing that amplifies the mindset, and the fostering of the culture of the people on that board. Now the culture needs to feel abundant, because I got an abundant mindset. No, you have a mutual benefit mindset, but the culture and the environment needs to feel like anything is possible. That's why our seal, the board of advisors seal, is the anything is possible seal. When you bring the right individual together with the right experience, the right intellectual property, which is proof they did something great with that experience, the right Rolodex is you get them in the room with a mutual benefit mindset, and now you've got something. That you don't even have to notice it. It feels abundant. This guy right here, I just watched him get up and talk about his company. You know, he has 400 insurance agents. How the heck did he do that? Right? I feel safe just being next to him. Like, you know what I mean? I just feel safe. The guy's next to me. However he did that, I don't know, but he could probably make me better. Right? So the mindset of abundance is, I don't know. But the environment and the culture of abundance, like you're swimming in possibility. It's wild. That's not where you grow. That's where you mutually grow, right? Like now everybody's growing.
How do I know, last question, I'm ready to participate?
Well, got a couple more things here. Okay. How do you know? Okay, good question. Here's how you know. You're struggling. Oh, well, I'm not struggling. Oh, then you're not doing anything. you That's even worse, right? So if you're not struggling or you haven't struggled for the last 3 years, 13 years, 30 years, now there's always the win. Everybody, right? But like, if you're not struggling with something, you're not pushing hard enough. If you haven't struggled, right? Even the guy, let's say a guy stepped off, he just had a big exit, killed himself for 23 years, boom, stepped off. Just got off with a guy yesterday, $100 million. They exited. And in 10 years, they created a $100 million exit, right? Well, he struggled for 10 years. Well, he didn't really struggle. He worked for 10 years solving problems. So you're only struggling when you're not solving, right? So if you can put yourself in an abundant culture and environment where people have the mindset of mutually benefiting each other,
Hmm.
you will stop struggling real quickly and you will start solving, right? But your struggle is the solution for other parties, and their struggle is your solution, because they're bringing that experience. That's the experience is the ingredient for the solution. Now, lessons learned, battles fought is wisdom earned. You don't learn any lessons, you don't fight any battles, you don't earn any wisdom. And shying away, like if you're not struggling, like you're getting up to that point where you're kind of feeling like it's getting hard and you just kind of stop pushing, you're going to lose. Because if you don't find, if you don't become an addict of the pain of that struggle, you're never going to get through it, and you're never going to be big, and you're never going to win. Now, you don't want to get stuck in it, but you need to know what it feels like to go through the pain of struggle to solution. The forging, the struggle is what forges you into greatness. You can write this down. The forge is where greatness is tempered. Time. They're all okay. Maybe the 30, maybe they actually, you know what, dude? I like spending money. I like it. I honestly like, I like, you actually said something the other day. I like to spend it because I like to show money. It doesn't own me. Dude, I don't even need you. I'm going to put you out there and I'm going to watch you come back more. Like, you can't get away from me, not me. I don't need you. Right? Push it out. Like, that's what investors do. They push it out and it comes back more. It's wild when you know, right? When you need it, when you're trying to get it, it's running away from you. And you're like, man, go get to work. And it brings back its buddies. You're like, go get back to work, right?
Yes.
So then it gets down to time, the value of the time, which is the absolute ultimate currency. Oh, I don't have, you know what's funny? So if time is the ultimate currency and you value your time above everything else, well, isn't that what the board does? It optimizes your time. So why are we having this conversation? You don't have enough time. Oh, so you actually need me more than you you just gave me the wrong excuse. You just told me you needed me, right? But you don't have enough. No, that means you need to be here more. You need to be away from there and with us more than anybody else. Well, can I come for one day? Dude, you need to come for every day. Every day. Why don't you just solve everything while you're there? Why don't you just make a oh, wait, hold on. Do you have a list? What are we are you coming to the meeting with what? Do you have a list? Like, everybody's worried about their presentation. Well, they're worried about the agenda. Oh my God. I want to actually do a meeting with no agenda and just be like, show up, pay attention, listen, ask great questions, get better answers, and leave your struggle here and take the solution home. The board is what optimizes your time. It allows you to focus on what really actually matters. Because you know what? You know why I say that? Because you will tell yourself all the stupid excuses. You know why? Because they make you feel good. It's like this little Justin Reese's cup here. It feels good in my mouth, right? Looks cute, tasty. It's amazing. You don't get in front of the board and you don't give you act when you get in front of the board, you don't want to say anything stupid because now you're thinking, okay, yeah, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Oh my gosh, all that shit doesn't matter. I'm not even going to talk about all that stuff. I'm only going to talk about this thing right here that matters because their experience is the thing that puts the fire to what your theory of what you think is the problem. No, you're going to get real focused real quick. You're going to focus on what matters. They're going to bring their experience and you're going to get down to the strategy that works. I was just thinking of something. Oh, you can write this down. People, when you focus on, that's the thing about the collective genius aspect of it. You don't want to present stuff that doesn't matter because then you feel silly. So when you get right down to what matters, then people are like, well, what is your vision? I don't know, 2020? Mine's not 2020. I can't see shit. Like, I took my contacts out the other day and it was peaceful because I couldn't see anything. Right. Uh, but a strategic vision, right, applied with impactful action, have a strategy. A strategy is not a plan. A strategy is a win. I have a plan that is done so well, so strategically. Think of this. A plan is the thing that you did on your own, and a strategy is the thing that you did with all of us. Because if you did it with all of us, you have a strategy. If you did it on your own, you have a plan. Okay. The but I mean, you can have a strategy or a plan, but if you don't have action, I'm here working with you. I have Chris on. We're doing more emails out. I mean, I don't take my eye off the ball. Are you in motion or are you in action? Because you can be in motion doing it. You can be busy. My buddy says, you can be busy all you want, but are you effective? He goes, because I can be effective in a couple hours. You know why? Because I will hire a pro and they'll go get it done for me. And then I'll go do something else. Like, I know how to get it done. Are you in action or are you in motion? Ask yourself that question. That's actually good. Write that down. I don't want to forget that one. Here's another rule that I actually want to implement too. At BA, not only do we have a belief system that anything is possible, but we have a rule: give more than you take. Give more than you take. Because contribution to others, to your family, to your team, to your business, contribution is the actual key to real success. And that's what everybody's chasing. They're chasing success. No, how about this? How about you actually give more than you take so that you become valuable? Oh, what? Well, hold on. You're the most valuable guy in the room? Why is everybody trying to do a deal with you? Because you're the most. Why are you the most valuable person in the room? Oh, you're giving more than you take. It's so simple, right? And if you feel like you don't have anything to give, oh my gosh, we just go back to the little shut up, pay attention, listen, ask it great questions, get better answers. You're no dummy, right? You're in a select few, 200 or 300 advisors on the official board of advisors you got here. If you're not confident that day, just start paying attention, ask some great questions, right? Great questions. It's an art, and it's actually fun. Now you're interviewing me, and I have questions for you. Here, we can end with this. I'm trying to formulate this thought. People want to know, how do I give? So if you give more than you take, and contribution is the lasting key to success, well, how do I do that? Oh, so funny you ask. You're actually sitting on a board of all these people who own all these companies and all these products and platforms and services. Like, the board amplifies your opportunity to give and be valuable. Like, I'm the playground for you to get good at it. Oh, okay. So it's like training day, right? Welcome to the game. Put me in, coach. You're in. Like the moment you walk through the door, you're in the game. Now, you could be in motion or you could be in action. But like, if you just looked at it as, how do I become better? The board is the place that amplifies your ability to be valuable, and practice the giving. Practice the give more than you take, right? Like, if you just used it for that and you didn't even tell anybody, it's going to work. Just practice. And watch others. If you don't believe it, like, if you come to board of advisors or you're in an environment that's similar and you don't believe what I'm saying, watch somebody. Pick the most valuable guy in the room or girl and watch the ripple effect, right? They can't help it. They can't help just one person. They can't impact. It ends up starting to, everybody, right? That's value. When you bring value in to where value's at, it's value squared. It doesn't add, it multiplies. That's a ripple effect. I had to squeeze ripple in there somehow. Rixel XRP, baby. I feel like I got more.
If you're listening to this, keep something very important in mind. He who would learn to fly one day must first learn to walk and run and climb and dance. One cannot fly into flying. I challenge everyone listening to go listen to what is an advisor in this order, what is a board, what is value, and circle back here. What is board of advisors? This is
I have one thing I want to throw in there because you taught me this. You're always good at building me up. Our 40 podcasts that we did on New Year's Eve, right? Here's what I learned from you. And this is what I think everybody should learn from Jay and what they should do in an environment like Board of Advisors. To my members, when you show up, I want you to continue creating conversations until somebody challenges your thinking. Like, I watch you, as soon as something bad happens when you're working with like your people, you're like, oh, that's good. Ooh, like now we have Jay's attention. The whole corner of the business just like just blew up and fell off into the ocean. Jay's like, this is great. Now we've got something to work with. I'm like, no, dude, that wasn't great. That wasn't great at all. No, you're like, this is good. I'm like, what? Are you crazy? He's like, this is really good. Now we're going to get somewhere. How about this? When you come to BA, why don't you keep creating conversations until somebody challenges your thinking or they offer you some sort of diverse thought that you didn't already see that perspective, right? Like it's nice when everybody compliments you on the things you're doing well, but I want you to find the person that makes you feel uncomfortable. Maybe they're just rude, right? But good, you found them. Like create conversation until you find something that you feel is different. Maybe you feel friction, maybe it's a little painful. Maybe they gave you feedback that you just didn't like. Like, at the end of the day, I want my member to be ready for feedback that they feel like feels kind of shitty. Damn, that doesn't feel good. But you know what? They know it's the truth. And as an advisor member on the board, we do it with love. We don't do it to make you feel shitty. You feel shitty because it's a little embarrassing because you didn't see it. But you know what? That's the whole point. Like we see it, you don't see it. And that's the whole reason you're here. So create conversations until you feel something that creates some friction or you feel challenged by it. Like that's when you're going to grow, right? BJ today. I'm going to come up with some BJ today. Go create conversations until it doesn't feel good. Till the guy or girl that's talking to you pushes that button that says, ouch, right? Oh, God, you got me. You got me. Okay. And then they twist it a little bit. Now they have your attention. Because realistically, like that's how we're growing, right? And it gets somebody invested into like if you're doing that, they start investing in you, right? And nobody creates pain. A human wouldn't want to create pain if they weren't able to create some sort of help on the performance, right? So now you're kind of getting somebody that's invested in your vision. Now you got a mind share partner. You have somebody that wants to mentor you, which people think they know what a mentor is. They don't. They need to listen to the other show. But you want to be able, because more than likely that person that's got their finger in your pain point, the reason they're doing it is because they probably align with you on values, right? And they're trying to help you because They care. They go, I like this person. I align with their values. I see it, but they got an issue here. We're going to help them, right? And many times they don't need anything from you. They need something from somebody else over there in the other corner of the room. So they're going to help you. But the cool part is, right? They were able to see it when you couldn't, in a safe container, right? And it's going to make you better. And now they're invested in your vision. They're going to align with your values. It's better than a buddy, right? These are when think of this. You're not at BA creating friends. You're BA creating, they call it a mastermind. Like, you're creating mind partners. You're creating leverage. You're creating a special connection that, just like that rope that we were talking about, that long rope, and we take it and we tie it in knots and we create this net. Go try to pull that net apart. You're gonna have a real problem. Just like the Bible says, you know, when three are in accord, it's, I don't know what the exact verse says, but it's like really unbreakable, right? Only three. You go tie 300 together, you have an army. You can, well, okay, goes back to anything is possible. Again, all of this has to happen in a container on a platform where there's respect. Like, you have to be able to trust the person that's telling you this. If Jeffrey Flam told me this, I'd be like, oh, if you say it, it's right, because I trust you. He respects me. He respects BA. He has an open line. He has an open way of communication about himself where he cares, right? That's how we have to, not foo-foo. Oh, I love you. Oh, you're so good. No, I want to tell you this because I want the best for you. And I don't even want, like, it doesn't even make me feel good to tell you, but I'm going to bring it to your attention because I want you to be the best, because I actually care. I don't care about making you feel good. I care about making you amazing and your best, right? That has to, you have to have a mutual respect for each other. There has to be a very unwavering trust between you and the other party in order to be able to do something like that. Like, there is a foundation there where people can kind of let their, we call it getting naked, right? You can let the guard down. You can get naked. You know, you can, you know, when the tide rolls out, you can see where everybody's at, right? But your buddy used to say something
Munger.
about, what does he say? What's the phrase? So, the
When the
investing.
tide goes out, you know who's swimming naked.
Exactly. Who doesn't like to swim naked? I swim so fast sometimes. No, I'm kidding. Um,
For those that are listening, there's no questions. The questions have been answered. Where do they go to get started? They're ready.
well, do
They're
this.
they want to show up
Yeah,
on the
leadership.
date. So
If you're an owner, you're a founder, you're a CEO, you're an investor, you're the head of your household. Maybe you're a father, maybe you're a mother, maybe you are we're all leaders. I mean, realistically, we're all leaders of some sort, right? And if we're leaders of no one else, we're leaders of ourselves. But real leadership in the world of entrepreneurship is not a solo act. Like, you have to have others around you if you want to be great and you want to be your best, because you can't do it all by yourself. You don't even have enough energy to do it all by yourself. Um, I would say this. Let me think of it goes back to the mutual benefit mindset, right? Um, if I took me out of the equation, okay, and I said, I want to build the world's greatest place for people to come and mastermind so that they can accomplish all the stuff that we're talking about here, right? Like, Like, how do I do that? I need the world's greatest people. So how do I create an environment where they all want to be? Right? Like if you're creating something that affects if your focus is to create something that benefits everyone else, not oh, Mike wants to make a bunch of money. No, 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 no. I actually want to create something that's a platform where everybody comes and when they leave, they go back and they say, matter of fact, before they come, the wife says, every time you come back, you're better. So every time it's time to go, she says, leave. Like I want the spouse tell you to leave, right? Like if the spouse is telling you to leave and get to BA and don't worry about your 30K because it's ridiculous, right? Like that's the place I want to be because it's so good. When the people that care about you most tell you, you need to go invest in yourself. You need to go there because when you come back, you're better. That's what I want, right?
Wow.
And I think that's how you got to start thinking about your business. What in your world are you doing that makes I mean, you may have a cell phone store business. How is that? How is it comes down to culture. How, when I go into that cell phone store, do I actually feel better? Or do I know something differently? Or do I, maybe there's a app that, the monthly app and it's all like fuel, my fuel. Everybody that's listening, I've got a new member. His name's Alex, myfuel.io. Like if I had a cell phone store, I'd be putting myfuel.io every time somebody comes in, man, you need this, right? I'm going to go negotiate a deal with him to get you a free month because I want to make you better. So now people come to my store because they leave better because Alex makes them better, right? Like figure out how to make everybody else better, and you will be just fine.
If you're listening to this, go listen and take notes. What is an advisor? What is a board? What is value? And re-listen to this. And I would challenge you to get in the room. And if you have more questions after this, I don't think you're
We had our
ready,
checklist.
frankly. So
0. You got to be there. You're not in the game. You got to pay attention. You got to listen. You got to ask great questions, great conversations, right? Because they're going to give you better answers. If you listen, you're going to ask great questions. They're going to give you better answers. They're going to create an amazing conversation. And bang, that's when the magic happens.
well, if I had to convince my friends to come over and play Halo as a kid, I would have been a loser, no matter how many kids came to my house. So I'd say if somebody's listening to these episodes and doesn't want to go, then 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 there's really no conversation. So
Well, I mean,
I
you
would
you were
challenge them
playing
not to
Halo,
waste.
and we're playing Make Mo.
I would say don't waste Mike's time, and if I catch you in real life, I'll push you on the ground because it's annoying. You can't help everybody. Thank you for continuing to teach us how to fish with your net. If you're listening to this, remember you can't fly into flying. Start crawling, and we will see you next time. Thanks, Mike.
You got it, brother.